Here we are in Newburgh, New York to check out a couple of fixed gear bikes. In a lot of ways these bikes couldn't be more different, but in one way they're exactly the same. We'll get to that in a minute. The first fixie is called The Hour by a company called Windsor. I don't know much about Windsor, and I don't know much about The Hour, except it's about 3:30. But I can say that this is a legitimate fixed gear bike with track dropouts in the rear. And then it has an FSA Vero crank. And there's bullhorn bars with a clamp-on stem, so it's a 1 1/8 inch steer tube. The hubs are high flange and they're loose ball, which means this is probably kind of a low budget fixed gear wheel set. And there's your Windsor crest, just like the Queen of England, I think. And this bike has 4130 chromoly tubing, which is a pretty good thing. And I was gonna say it has a nice little brake bridge if you want to put in a brake, but the hole in the brake bridge is way oversized, so you really couldn't put a brake in there. But right underneath the Ritchie headset, there's a hole in the fork, so you could put a brake there if you're a little bit uncomfortable riding a fixed gear bike. Or you could just flip the hub around because it's a flip-flop hub and you could put a freewheel on the other side. So that's The Hour by Windsor, which is pretty much a legitimate, although obviously somewhat low-end, fixed gear track bike. Now over here we have the complete opposite. This thing started out life as a Raleigh Record road bike. So here's your Raleigh sticker on the down tube, not really a sticker, a decal, and your record graphic on the top tube, and you see there's also brake guides, cable guides, which you wouldn't find on a legitimate track bike. Now the rear dropouts are horizontal, but they're not legitimate fixed gear dropouts like on the Windsor bike. See, on the Windsor bike, the dropouts are slotted to the rear, but on the Raleigh, the slots are in the front, because this started life as a road bike. Now, whoever did the conversion on this did an okay job. They put this Truvative crank, which isn't half bad. The wheel set is by Bianchi, and just like with the Windsor, it's a flip-flop. This is the front hub, but let's look at the back. See, whoever was riding this was riding it as a fixed gear, but you could flip it over and put a freewheel on there if you wanted to. They did skimp a little bit on the handlebars by just flopping and chopping whatever was on there already, just some cheap steel bars. But the stem is a clamp-on Bianchi stem, which looks like it might be run upside down, because the logo's upside down. And then the fork is this Tange chromoly front fork. And I don't know if that's threaded or threadless, and I really don't know how they've got this whole thing rigged, and I'm not about to find out. So here's your Raleigh badge, and above that is a Cane Creek headset. And then they went with these Continental Ultra Sport tires, which look pretty good. So in terms of quality, I don't know if the Raleigh Record with the Bianchi wheels, the Continental tires, and the Truvative crank is higher quality, or if I'd give it to the Windsor, which is clearly purpose-built as a fixed gear or single speed bike. But the one thing that these two bikes have in common, you know, the Raleigh being a sort of cobbled together road bike conversion, and the Windsor being a legitimate fixed gear bike, the one thing they have in common is that neither one of them has a seat post or a seat. I don't know why, but here's the empty post on the Windsor. And here's the vacancy on the Raleigh. Now, I would have put seat posts and seats on these things, but after I searched through my whole collection of seat posts, I didn't find one that fit either one of these frames. So that's what we got. A cobbled together fixed gear made out of an old Raleigh, and a purpose-built fixed gear by Windsor, The Hour. Both a couple of cool bikes here in the city of Newburgh, and unfortunately I can't ride either one of them because they don't have seat posts or seats. But until I find seat posts and seats and take these for a spin, thanks for watching.